What's going on, my people? Hello everyone, welcome to another video. My name is Kemal AA and this is another Chelsea transfer news daily video for you guys, where I keep you guys up to date with all the latest Chelsea news in the past 24 hours. And it looks like Olivier Giroud is on the verge of signing for AC Milan. We'll be speaking about that, written and spoken about by Gianluca Di Marzio, of course, Sky Sports Italia and all the reliable Italian journalists. It looks like Olivier Giroud will be joining AC Milan this summer, and Chelsea, of course, will need to find a replacement. And who is that going to be? Of course, we know strikers are a priority. Erling Haaland, Romelu Lukaku, and that's the interesting part. Thomas Tuchel's held secret, discreet talks with a specific striker. I'll be delving into all the latest news. We'll also be speaking about Eduard Camavinga, and of course we'll also be speaking about the other latest news as well. But before I do get into it, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and comment down below your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. But without further ado, let's get straight into this news daily, starting off with the news story, which of course is in regards to Olivier Giroud. According to Di Marzio, Olivier Giroud to AC Milan is almost there now, and it could get closed out today. As I record this video, it could get closed out. Now, delving into the article, Italian reporter Gianluca Di Marzio has been following this deal closely, and it looks like we could see a conclusion soon. We are, of course, talking about Chelsea striker Olivier Giroud's proposed move to AC Milan, which became more difficult due to Chelsea using an option to extend his current contract with the club. But as reported by Milan News, Di Marzio, speaking on a Sky Sport broadcast yesterday, says that we are almost there now in negotiations between the two clubs, and it could get seen out today. It is unclear how much the fee will be, if there is a fee at all, and some of the negotiations are also surrounding terms. But either way, Giroud is finally set to become a Milan player and end his time at Stamford Bridge. Now, massive news, and one thing I have to mention about Olivier Giroud is he will never go down as a Chelsea legend, because he was never a consistent starter, nor was he here long enough for me to put Giroud down as a legend. I think that term gets thrown around, is overused, and it gets thrown around too often. But I would say that Olivier Giroud is a cult hero when he leaves Chelsea, in terms of what he's won. He's accumulated numerous amounts of silverware, in terms of the importance of his goals, what he's provided to the team, his professionalism as well. There are so many times and so many seasons where Olivier Giroud had situations where it was unjust. There was injustice. He should have been starting. He should have had more consistent game time, but he never whined. He never whinged. Even the situations in the French camp with Kylian Mbappe, carrying Benzema, with the whole F1 go-kart thing, he always stayed professional. He stayed true to his morals. He stayed true to his values, and that is something that you have to commend. He's so professional, he's so experienced in what he's provided, not just for Chelsea, but in terms of what he's done in his career. For Montpellier winning the league title, for Arsenal winning all those FA Cups, driving him to success, in terms of what he brings to his game, in terms of his attributes, his link-up play. He's a target man, he's strong, he's physical, he's one of the best players in terms of aerial ability. And yes, he's got some downsides and negatives in terms of, in terms of lack of pace. But again, what he's won, he was so instrumental in our Europa League campaign. He was our top goal scorer, the top goal scorer in the Europa League campaign. And of course, he scored the opening goal in the final. And he single-handedly, alongside Hazard, won us that Europa League. Champions League, of course, how can we forget the overhead kick against Atletico Madrid? That was won as the UEFA goal of the tournament. And just proves it to you that the thing with Giroud was never a consistent scorer of goals, but he always scored a lot of goals that were spectacular. He scored frequently. He never scored consistently, but they were always amazing, immaculate goals. They're always world-class goals. It wasn't consistent enough to the basis, which is why Olivier Giroud was never world-class, but he was always so reliable. He was always so professional, and for that reason, for me, Giroud will go down as a cult hero. And I think that a lot of fans will share the same view in terms of what we provided. And whatever Giroud decides to do in his future endeavours, whether that's going to AC Milan, which is pretty much confirmed now by Di Marzio, good luck to him. Now, the brilliant news here is all parties win. Yes, Giroud is 34, 35, but he wants to aim for the 2022 World Cup campaign with France, which is in 18 months' time. He's going to do his best to remain fit and, of course, get the consistent game time AC Milan. He gets a new fresh start in a new league that he hasn't been in. He can conquer that league. Of course, it's a much more slower league, so it's more adapted to his style of play. He's still very technical. He still scored a lot of goals. AC Milan get an experienced player that scored goals. Of course, they suit him in terms of system, what he can provide to the team. And of course, it's going to improve their firepower, so improve their arsenal. So, no pun intended, by the way, because he's a player for Arsenal. But in terms of what he can provide, in terms of firepower for AC Milan, it's shrewd business. And then for Chelsea as well, if we didn't extend that contract, where there was a clause of his contract where we could extend it for another year, then he would have gone away for free. He would have become a free agent. But because we extended his contract by a year, we're now going to get undisclosed fee. Now, it's not going to be, significant. We're not talking 5 to 10 million here, but we are going to get a couple of million, I would assume. We don't know the fee exactly, but we get him off the wage bill, and of course, we get a couple of million here and there. So it's fantastic business from the club. It's profit, it's revenue that's, of course, going to be reinvested back into the squad, albeit it's a small amount, but every little helps, as a Tesco headline would say. Every little bit helps. So listen, Giroud wins. New league for him. He can conquer that league. AC Milan, they get an experienced top striker. Chelsea, we get a striker off the wage books, and this is where it leads to the next part. Now, Thomas Tuchel has held secret, discreet talks with a striker in the name of Romelu Lukaku, according to Carefree Youth. Now, Carefree Youth, he's got his Patreon on Twitter, where essentially he basically discloses all his transfer links and news, because he has got contacts and sources within Chelsea Football Club, and of course it's a paywall behind it. But essentially he wrote that Romelu Lukaku has been in secret talks with Thomas Tuchel in the past few weeks, and that the talks have gone quite well. They've been speaking about how Tuchel will deploy Lukaku in that system. They've been talking about tactics. They've been talking about formation, about how he would love Lukaku at Chelsea, and the talks have been positive. Now, we heard a couple of months ago that Lukaku was going to be remaining Inter Milan, that he had positive talks with Simeone Inzaghi. He was happy with life in Milan. He just won a Scudetto. He's a champion. He wants to stay there, and we thought, that's that. Lukaku is staying into Milan, and well, that's what we assumed, and simply that's not the case. Again, some journalists have always been hinting that the door was never closed for Lukaku. Yes, it was most probable that he would stay into Milan, but one thing you need to understand is, as Fabrizio has already confirmed, Chelsea will 100% be signing a high-profile name this summer. In the striker department, we have to, whether that's Erling Haaland, whether that's Romelu Lukaku, whether that's Lautaro Martinez, whoever it may be, it has to be a high profile striker, because that's what Thomas Tuchel requested. That's what the hierarchy believe is required for us to be able to compete and challenge Man City for the Premier League title next season. If Man City hypothetically sign Harry Kane and Jack Grealish, and we don't sign a striker, how can you expect Thomas Tuchel to compete with Man City? It makes no logical sense. So of course, yes, it's going to cost a lot of money, but it is required if you want to become a champion, if you want to develop as a club. Now, again, as I said, they've held secret talks. Now, this doesn't mean that we've ended our pursuit in Erling Haaland, not at all. It just essentially means that Chelsea are evaluating their options. I've always maintained and remained that Lukaku was always a plan B option. He always was plan B to Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland was the number one by the Chelsea hierarchy, by Thomas Tuchel, but they're looking at the logistics and the finances now. They're understanding and coming to the conclusion that that deal is going to be very difficult to materialise. Why? Because of the finances. Dortmund are reluctant. They're adamant they want to keep Haaland. They're demanding at least £150 million for Haaland's signature. So of course, yes, Chelsea a few weeks ago may have been optimistic for Haaland, and yes, there have been reports, and it is likely we will be placing bids for Haaland, but Dortmund are going to be strong. They're going to stand strong, and they're going to say no. Haaland has to report for training and pre-season duty in next week or so. Once he starts training with Dortmund, his mind is going to be set on Dortmund, and then it's going to be even more difficult to lure Haaland to Chelsea. So of course, if we want Haaland, we have to act now, and we have to cough up the money, which I'm not too convinced we will. Now, I'm not saying Haaland's dead in the water. I'm not saying that at all. Of course, there's still a massive possibility it could happen, but all I'm going to say is keep your eyes open on Lukaku. Keep your eyes open, because of course, if you can't sign Haaland, that's when Chelsea have to throw everything on Lukaku, because as I said, and as many journalists have reported, Chelsea are going to sign a high-profile striker. Lukaku fits that bill. He's strong, he's physical, he's powerful, he's got Premier League experience, he's in the prime of his career, he's a goal scorer, he's scored an abundance of goals any club that he's been to, whether that's Serie A, Manchester United, Everton, even for Belgium as well. He's had a solid Euros for Belgium, scoring a lot of goals. He's powerful, he's physical, he's trimmed up his game, his first touch has improved. Yes, I'm not too convinced he fits Thomas Tuchel's style perfectly, but I'm sure Thomas Tuchel could accommodate to his needs and requirements. So let's just wait and see what happens with that one. But let's move on to the final news story, of course, Eduardo Camavinga. Now, according to French publications and English reports, Petr Cech is a driving force behind the interest for Camavinga. Apparently, he's a huge fan, and Chelsea have, of course, made contact with his agent, Jonathan Barnett, who, of course, happens to be the same agent as Gareth Bale. Now, I made a report on this 2 days ago. I stated that we do have interest and we've already contacted Eduard Camavinga's agent, and of course the interest is there. As I've always maintained, I don't believe Chelsea were ever front runners for him. I don't think we still are. PSG are really in for him. He's got 1 year left on his contract at Rennes. He may want to see it out because then he's got a lot of options. If he decides to see out his contract at Rennes in 6 months' time in January, he can communicate with any club outside of France and sign a pre-contract. So at the end of the day, the power is with Eduard Camavinga. He's still only 18. He's got a huge future ahead of him. Maybe I think for him, for his growth and development, staying at Rennes for another season would be the beneficial thing to do. But let's wait and see. What do you guys think? Leave me your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. But that is me wrapping up the News Daily, and I'll see all of you guys for my next video. Peace.